We have a new entry in the physics-based puzzle genre of games. Do You Even Forklift is a new comedy-based simulator game from Garage 5, and they sent us an early access key to the game so we could take a look at it. And it's a game that Mike and I previously looked at when the demo became available almost a year ago. And we had some fun with that demo, so given the opportunity, I grabbed the chance at the full release. Where this game puts you in control of a forklift so you can move cars, with the objective typically being around getting cars in a parking spot, with different obstacles standing in your way between where the car is and where it needs to be, to extremely comedic effect in most cases. I would say right off the bat, if you're going into this expecting a big puzzle game, you're gonna be disappointed. But if you're looking for a small comedic physics game, you're in the right place. Where most of the challenge of this game will come from its controls, which on their own aren't anything surprising, but mix in the fixed camera angle and controlling this forklift feels like driving an RC car. Except it's an RC car that's capable of destroying everything it touches. With most of the time, you'll find yourself fighting the controls to complete these puzzles, rather than working to try and solve the puzzles. While some of the puzzles can be creative and require you to lay out everything the level gives you to solve it, I would say most of them have a pretty simple solution in front of you, and you just need to figure out how to get the car there. Making it so most of these puzzles, you'll just breeze right through them pretty quickly, especially the early levels. Each area of the map has its own number designation that groups sets of levels together, with these groups having a theme to them which the puzzles move around. For example, the area starting with 7-0 starts to introduce electric vehicles, where these vehicles are tethered to a charging station, meaning you have to be careful not to break that cable, and you can only move them so far, with all the puzzles being featured around this mechanic in this area. Then when you move to area 9, you'll find that the cars will be dirty, giving you a car wash feature, where you'll need to wash the cars in order to tell what color they are in order to finish the puzzle. With the further into that area you get, the more challenging the puzzles become, and new gimmicks and puzzle mechanics are nice to see every time you make it to a new area. But they really don't show up again after you leave that area, or if they do, it's very sparingly. Like, there are some fun gimmicks that I really like, such as the car crusher, which you need to use in order to flatten vehicles and make them fit into space. Or these hidden parking spaces that pop up from underground, forcing you to recalculate where to put everything. And then my personal favorite being the pachinko levels, where you drop a car into a pachinko machine in order to get it into a spot. But sadly, these different mechanics don't really come back around beyond the area they're in. Some do make a return from time to time in the levels, popping up randomly, like the electric cars that I mentioned previously. Or these no parking areas, where the goal is to move the cars and items in those areas out of it in order to solve the puzzle. But the game seems to be missing the culmination puzzles that bring all these different puzzle mechanics together. Because up until the final area, new puzzle mechanics are still being introduced. And when I got to the final level, I was expecting to unlock a new area where new mixed levels would be, or a more challenging mode would be unlocked. But it kinda just ends without too much fanfare. So I figured maybe it was the fact I hadn't completed each level's extra challenge. See, every level on the map has 2 extra challenges to complete. The first one is just kinda silly and doesn't add much to the game, requiring you to pick up a cat in the overworld before you jump into the level, with the cat just sleeping on the back of the forklift through the chaos. To me, this challenge was more of an annoyance, especially as the game goes on, because you need to grab a cat every time you finish a level before going to the next, and each area of the map has a cat sitting around waiting to be picked up. So once you find it the first time, it isn't any more challenging to grab it for the next 4 to 5 times in that area. It just takes extra time to do it and remember to do it. The second challenge is a more fulfilling one, and requires you to find hidden ramen bowls somewhere on the level, with there being one hidden somewhere on each level. And it usually sticks out by the steam it gives off indicating where it is. And that does make it pretty easy to find it most of the time. And I think this little added challenge to the levels would have been a little bit more fun if it wasn't there, which would lead you to having to search without any indicators to where the ramen is hidden. But even when I went back and finished these challenges for the maps I missed them on, the game was still just over, which is probably my biggest disappointment with this game. There's a build up to all these different kinds of puzzles and mechanics, a lot of them really fun, and then you just don't get to see them again. And the final level itself is probably one of the easier levels in the game, where I expected it to be a longer level requiring you to incorporate all the different puzzles you came across. But Do You Even Forklift isn't that kind of game. As I said before at the beginning, this is a fun game, as long as you're not going into it for the puzzle mechanics. But if you're going into it looking for a good laugh and a short fun time, this is for sure a game to check out. I can say I played this game with a couple friends and we were having a good laugh at a lot of the puzzles. And the ways of solving them and going, how in the world does that count as being solved, was well worth the price of this game alone. It's a comedic game, and if you approach it that way, you're in for a fun time. But if you're a die-hard puzzle fan and you're looking for the next challenge, this one isn't going to be it. But overall, I can say this is a fun game, and I'm glad I played through it. And I'm pretty sure this makes me Forklift certified now. So if you want to check out Do You Even Forklift for yourself, links to do so are going to be in the description below. And we'd like to know your thoughts on Do You Even Forklift if you played it as well, or intend to. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot here. And check out some of our other videos here on Bickering Nerds. Until next time, this is Brad with the Bickering Nerds.